I just think if you're a serious program, I think you have to have this product, in my opinion.
My name is Neil Ioviero. I'm the baseball coach at Kean University. I'll be going into my 29th season in the 2026 season, and we started using GoRout this past January when we got our stuff in for the 2025 season.
It's Mike Matera, Kean University. Been at Kean since 2019. We've been using GoRout for the 2025 season and for the foreseeable future.
All right, so let's start off with something simple here. What is the biggest changes that you noticed in your program since you moved from your previous card system to using GoRout?
I think first and foremost, with the pitch clock coming into play, and it's getting more visual in the stadiums. So before, obviously, the umpires had to have it on their hip, and when you're at the stadium, time is moving, and you got to get going. And there's a processing point for the player. Not only to just get the sign, but to have a second to breathe and process what he's being asked to do. And so this system allows you to just look at the watch on your wrist, putting the watch close to your eyes instead of peeking down at your waist, or some kids don't want to wear it on their wrist, or the font is so small that you can't really see clearly. And then you're jumping in the box. Like, this gets the sign out immediately. There's a deep breath you can take and then get back in there and know that the kid has the sign. Not that did he find it on this giant grid with all these different signs. So it's the reliability of him getting the sign right is worth its weight in gold, just that one part of it. And then obviously from the coaching staff, you're playing in some big stadiums with noise and people screaming and the benches and the fans, and you don't have to scream a number and then put your fingers up and hope that they saw the sign, and they have to ask you to repeat it. It quiets everything down. It makes it very calm in the dugout to give the sign to the player or to the coaches on the bases. They can read it. The continuity is off the charts.
Skip, you were talking about explaining it to other coaches. You want to go back down that path a little bit and just kind of give your best 2 cents on how it simplifies the Kean game day execution and how other teams could take advantage of it similarly?
Well, there's no way that they're tapping into what you're doing. So it just takes away the fear and the anxiety of, are we giving away signs? Are people copying down numbers? Are they watching video and rehashing, the calls and seeing what happens? Like, it alleviates so much of that it's virtually gone. I can't tell you how many times through the course of the season when we're doing something and we think that we needed to add another sign because, okay, this just happened to us. Let's put something in that covers that. And then we're inputting that in the system and it's just added to what we're doing. Rather, imagine having those cards on the grid and you want to add a sign, you'd have to redo an entire card, So we have, let's say, a pitch out where the guy is, the pitcher has instructions on what to do, how to get the ball to the catcher. The catcher is coming out throwing, but now we had a guy stop on us a third of the way, but our first baseman wasn't in place. So now on our card, it's going to have to say pitch out, have the pitcher have some instructions, first base, get back to the base, because maybe if you fake bunt, he's coming running in and then the runner is stealing. He stops a third of the way, he's heading back, but we don't have a first baseman there. We're able to put that sign in instantly, maybe in the middle of the game if you wanted to. That's a feature that's tremendous, is that you can constantly add to it and you're not interrupting, having to make all these cards up over and over again. But it just alleviates so much stuff where you don't even have a thought of worrying about this anymore. Where before it's total paranoia every single game, through the course of the game. You're constantly looking, are they relaying signs? Did they get your signs? Is the guy at second? It just takes it all away.
That's the number one objective and where it all comes from. And now you touched on this a little bit earlier when we were talking. Your previous system, you said that you didn't go to cards, you just did the numbers, or you didn't do the touch system, you just had the numbers. What was the biggest influence for you to develop from your previous system, and specifically, why did you choose GoRout over going with one of our competitors?
Yeah, Mike, you researched that.
Yeah, so we were doing the card. Yeah, like I was getting it from the dugout, yelling out the number. When we played in bigger places where it was louder, things would get, you would mishear a number either from the dugout or, me yelling it to a player. It was just constant confusion, every pitch of the game. So I actually saw this, I believe, on the ABCA website, and I looked into it, went through most of the videos and stuff like that. And once I realized it could do one, it could take our whole system, input it on the watch pretty seamlessly. And then for me, what sold us was the amount of characters that we were allowed to use and being able to take whatever we had on the card and even expand that onto the watch like that. I think that's what really sold us, was being able to get these instructions, not just a simple abbreviation SB or HR, but to really have, long form instructions on the watch for the players to read.
And I would go a little further with that and say, like, honestly, your customer service is excellent. Like, we just didn't buy this thing. We got on calls with you 3 or 4 times, and Mike had phone calls. And so, like, you're making a commitment, right, for basically 3 years. If you do this, you got to be damn sure, because you don't want something else to come out that's a little bit better. That's why we've waited so long for the right thing that can do what we needed it to do. And so the fact that we can get you guys on the phone, you'll listen, you'll try to make adjustments, you'll walk us through stuff, like, that's worth its weight in gold. You're not just selling a product and then walking away from us and saying, hey, we'll talk in the summer. Like, you'll get on the phone right then and there and help us with what we need, which is great customer service wise.
I mentioned earlier, part of our objective here in getting your insights and the thoughts from other coaches and understanding how programs or different programs specifically use the system. You may or may not have anything specifically for this, so if not, we can just move on. But could you walk me through, if you have one, a specific moment where being able to communicate with your entire team made a direct impact on a game or a play at any point in this, great 2025 run that you guys had?
We put something in on the watch. We were noticing people doing dekes in the outfield, for example. So, like, we put that in on the watch where our our position coach could go ahead and put, outfield deke on the watch, if it's a fly ball in that certain situation, and being able to get that out instead of screaming it out there where everybody kind of knows what we're doing, being able to get that out there and have that, in the outfielder's mind fresh, is just something for us. If that situation comes about, like, we're prepared for it instead of kind of giving it away. Like, it's that little reminder that really helps us.
And for me, I would say the truth is it's literally every pitch. Like, it's like you're in the glove with the pitcher, talking to him as if you were standing right behind him. So if we're saying curveball away, off the plate, go for a strikeout, or it's 3-2, throw it down the middle and down, like, you're giving them visualization of what they can envision after what they just read, which I think mental visualization helps tremendously, seeing yourself doing it beforehand. So even if it's like, okay, square early and pull the ball by the third baseman who's in, like, you're telling them, and then get the right pitch. So it's like saying, okay, if the third baseman's really in, you're going to pull the bat back and try to hit it by him, but don't do this if you don't get the right pitch. Like, that's a lot of instructions. Like, if I called a timeout, I would have my arm around them and say, listen, we're going to try to pull it by third, but if that's a slider away, don't swing, because you can't hit it by him. That's going to, that's not in a spot you can pull. Every single thing is a detail that is, if you're talking to them nice and calm. So I don't know if I'd be a specific thing, but it would be literally through the course of the game, every game, just those instructions that we think are, really valuable on the pickoffs. I mean, just getting them in the right position. Like we used to have visual signs for all these different pickoffs. Now, like, nobody knows they're coming. The guy's not giving it away. Like, everything is being told to them, and it's nice and clean, as we're going through each play.
All right. Now, I want to just kind of, I didn't have anything specifically to say or to ask about the offensive side of things, but in our, previous conversation, like, learning that you guys have and use it at a very varietal way on offense. Could each of you just kind of give a minute and explain not only how you use it on offense, but the value that brings specifically to your coaching staff in increasing efficiency on the base paths and in the box?
I mean, for us, it's every pitch. Like something is going on, and they're seeing something every pitch, from whether it's a play to maybe, we're telling them from the dugout to sit a certain pitch or expect something. So I just think for us, it's an every pitch type deal. Like we're using it every pitch of the game, from offense and defense. So for us, it's just being able to get things out quicker, get them in the box quicker, and then get coaching points across that get them in the frame of mind that, we need to get them in.
So even like on our steals, you saw we stole a lot of bases, but like we think we're being very safe in the sense that if the kid has a green light and the pitcher is doing a regular lift or a decent lift, and then he's slide stepping and it's really fast, you're reminding him, like, slide step, hold. We don't have to go on every pitch. It's just these little reminders that don't make them feel like they have to go on that one pitch because I have a green light. It's a methodical way of going about it. You start off with this bunt. This guy crashed on the coverage. Okay, we're going to change it to this one, and it's just it's pitch to pitch. We're using it so damn fast. It's ridiculous. Like it's you should sit in the dugout one day and just listen how fast this goes. It's pretty wild.
You mentioned earlier the fact of how paranoid some coaches are, and coaches that I played for had 100 through 900 series on every single card, and there was 4 iterations of every card, and they would get froggy in the 4th inning and say, we're switching from green to yellow. And that's just kind of, it's intense for the player perspective there too, because you've got to be, indicators are changing, everything's updating so fast. Can you speak a little bit to your players? What was the team's response when you first introduced the GoRout Diamond system to the Kean program?
Well, it's weird because if we go back years ago, like I always had signs that were visual that they could see, so let's say it was a 1st and 3rd and we wanted the guy to pull up short. Like we give the sign and we chop our hand like that, which tells that guy at first, pull up. Or, we do something like this, which means we're going out of the person. Like there's all kinds of visuals. And like, as time goes on with all this technology, stuff is going to start to get picked up. Or we have a bunt defense where we go like this, which tells the guy to go in a certain spot. Or, doing like hand gestures, the inside move, we used to choke like this. The catcher would choke, I would choke, playing the same teams over and over, that they're picking, little things up, and then you'd have to have dummy signs. It was a constant cat and mouse. Like, now it doesn't matter. Like they can't pick anything up. And so you could have your entire system and it happens within one pitch. So sometimes you're trying to do that glove drop and you're trying to get the second baseman to look at you because he's got to acknowledge that it's on, because you can't put it on if no one's going to be at the bag. And he says, I didn't see it in 3 pitches. And now you had a chance to get it out and you didn't even put the play on. Now within a single pitch, boom, everyone knows what's going on, where the pickoff's coming, who's backing up. It's just, the game just moves fast like that. So you're confident that these kids are, they're seeing every single sign. If you have an inside move on and the second baseman's playing in the hole, he's not going to get to the base in time. Even if we pick the guy off, the guy's just going to run back to second. Well, now he could start cheating. And, and it all happens anytime you want it to. You don't have to like set it up with a pitch or two. It's going on in live time. It's really efficient.
All right, so now here's another pretty important one that you touched on earlier too, price. So Kean's a D3. I played ball at an NAIA. I understand, what goes into a gritty, lower budget program. Can you just speak a little bit to justifying the value? The cost is the cost, but justifying the value of what you're getting, even for a smaller budget program.
I mean, you've heard all these nightmare talks this year about walkie-talkies, the signal being intercepted from the other team, and people know what pitch is coming, every single pitch. Like, imagine the paranoia of calling a game in a walkie-talkie and knowing the other team has your signs, and like these 1, 2, 3, 4 games that you might lose because of something like that can cost you a regional bid. It can cost you losing a game in the regional. So like you just don't want to even have that to be a thought. So, with this system, you're just always comfortable that they're not necessarily on any of these signs whatsoever. So from a cost standpoint, you pay what you pay, but as I joke around, I say I would have paid anything for this system to take that, give us that peace of mind and take that anxiety away. So it could be as no frills as you want. I mean, if you wanted to use it on offense and just use 4 watches, you can give it to the 3 guys that are hitting that inning, and then the 4th hitter who's coming up, and then just keep switching it out. You can have the catcher, the middle infield, and the pitcher have it. Or you can get expansive like we've got. We have 10 of them where everyone on the field has it. So my suggestion would be start with this system regardless. I mean, people should be able to find, a little bit of money to buy a minimal amount of watches. And even if you have to expand on it in a 3-year period, you end up getting what you need. It's worth it. Because with a minimal amount of watches, you could still get the job done. It's just if you want the whole experience, if everyone's wearing it on the field, you're going to get it. So it's not that expensive compared to, other stuff that's out there. And you guys are great with switching the watch if it broke because it got something. We had a couple of kids get hit by pitches, and you guys get us those watches real fast. Like it's I think everyone should look into it. Even calling the pitches. I mean, if that's the route you want to go, calling the pitches with, only you have pitcher and catcher, it takes away just a lot of stuff of worrying. That peace of mind is worth a lot.
Now, I want to ask this one to you, Mike, specifically, as the one that built the system out and is using it more on a day-to-day. Where did you feel like the real value in GoRout really lies? Is that in performance by helping players increase their focus and not have to worry about, all of the nuances of and complexities of traditional signs? Is it in saving you guys time in preparation and execution in the dugout? Anything specifically from you that you believe the true value is?
I would say it's all of it. For us from a, let's say, game planning standpoint, instead of having multiple cards, we don't need that anymore. Like, it's charge up a tablet and charge up the watches, and we're good to go. So from that standpoint, like there's no preparation for us. It's just once you get your system set up, it's set up. If you need to adjust it in the middle of the season, even we've done it mid-game, you can do that. Like, you have that feature to edit things mid-game. From the player standpoint, it's as simple as reading and following directions. Like that's really what we're asking to do. Like, read, follow directions, and do what we're asking them to do. So I think I just think if you're serious, if you're a serious program, I think you have to have this product. In my opinion.
We kept practicing all spring, and we kept telling them, like, we're going to have the watch. This watch is going to show everything. Like, we had our visual signs, or we yell it out, like, what to do. And then, like, when they got that first day, they were in awe of, like, how easy this was to look at that watch. It was like, it relieved so much off of that player to not have to, like, oh my God, am I missing the sign? Did I get it? Did I not get it? And then, like, we had a game. It was in the regionals, or it might even in the super regionals. This catcher was flying out of the box, really fast on a throw. Like, so if we weren't swinging, the guy was just moving through the plate quickly because he was really good, really quick. And so we had to go to a sign where, like, they had to swing and miss on a steal to keep the catcher back a little longer. Like, we literally called them in a huddle and said, we're putting a sign in. We haven't used it all year. If we're stealing, we want you to swing and miss. And that literally happened in the middle of the game. Mike put it in the system. It was number 200, let's say. I had to just remember that one number, and boom, we had that in place for the rest of the time to keep that catcher back. Like, we saw something quickly. He was jumping the lane too quick, and we got that in there on the fly. Like, how many systems can do something like that?
Again, Kean had a heck of a year, highlighted by a run to the D3 World Series, 15-game win streak in the middle. You guys have explained a lot here of how you use the system, what makes it different, how it helps your program. Could each of you give me one thing specifically to say how GoRout helped in creating some of the success that you guys found this year, and how you anticipate that to continue in the future?
I would say first and foremost, it put the players' minds at ease that they were going to be able to see a sign and understand what it meant, have a lot more clarification, and be able to visualize what needed to be done a little bit before the pitch was getting ready to be thrown. And that alone is making a huge difference. It wasn't in past years, whether they were regular signs or on a card, you always they always question themselves, did they see it right? Because everything's moving so fast. This just allowed them, I think, to calm down and just play a lot more free and easy in their mind.
Yeah, I think the same. You know, from an efficiency standpoint, from the whole game day operation on how things go, I think it just sped up and gave us as coaches and our players just clarity on exactly what we're doing. Like there's no miscommunication, you know, and it just speeds things up. You have the pitch clock, and then in terms of knowing what's going on, all you got to do is read it.